Hey there, I am so excited that you are taking a look at our curriculum and our coaching program for either select members of your team, or maybe you are thinking about bringing my team and me in to come help support on a corporate training or coaching standpoint. Either way, you're here, you're curious about how we can help you. And I wanted to provide a little bit of context for our curriculum, what makes it different, and what you can expect for any members of your team who go through our programs. And so everything in our methodology, both on the She Sells front, which is female specific, for women who are in sales, leadership, business development roles, and then also on the superhuman selling side, which isn't specific to women, but is for everyone, everything that we have created has been based on my own almost 2 decades now of first being a top performer in corporate and then going on to run multiple very successful businesses, as well as the results that we've seen with our clients over the years, and looking at what really quantum leaps someone. So, what does it take to take someone who maybe is already doing really well and they think they've reached their ceiling, but take them to a whole new level that they didn't even think was possible for them? Or what would it take to take someone who maybe has never identified as being able to be a top performer and help them actually step into that level? And my own personal experience in implementing this curriculum as well, and really going on my own path. And I'll share a little bit of context for what you're about to learn here, which are these 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth that we teach. Was for over a decade in sales, I was doing all of the right things. I was working very hard, taking all the right actions, using the right method and strategy. And yet, no matter what I did, I couldn't break past a certain income threshold. Now that sales level was high. Again, I was a top performer. I was doing well, but I wanted to do an exceptional job. I wanted to break every record out there. I wanted to quantum leap in ways that seemed impossible. But no matter what I did, I couldn't break through. When I went on my own path and started studying what we now teach our clients and studying not just the right strategy, but I found for me the missing link, and for so many sales professionals, leaders out there, it's actually the inner work that was the piece that quantum leap things. So I went on a journey of studying neuroscience and identity and how much that controls our results. I started studying money and our relationship with money and understanding people's money blocks and why they would unconsciously not want to ask for the sale or feel uncomfortable being number one on the team, and working under top leaders and top coaches and mentors across the world. And when I started implementing what I was learning, I literally went from having been stuck for over a decade at the same level to within 6 weeks turning my annual income into my monthly income. I 10x'd, and it blew my mind how quickly it happened, how easy it actually was when I incorporated these elements. And it was so impactful that I said, I'm going to devote the rest of my life to teaching this to others so that they can get unstuck and unlock that next level of performance in what with whatever that looks like for them. And so this is what has created the foundation for the curriculum that we teach now to our clients. And we teach this in both our 10K club group coaching, in my high level mastermind, the 50K club, which is for women who are already at the 6-figure level looking to go to another level. We teach it with corporate consulting and training and coaching. So I want to give a little explainer here so you can understand, what is this all about? What does it mean? And how could it benefit either you or your team as well? So I'm going to share my screen and walk you through these 4 quadrants, what they're all about, and hopefully provide some clarity here. All right. So we are sharing good. Okay. So these 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth, these are the things that I had to first uncover myself, and we now teach, that really do create that quantum leap. So the first quadrant is mind over matter. Now, when you hear that, you may think you know what it means. You may think it means, oh, just push through, it's mind over matter. Yes, and in the process of studying under some of the most amazing researchers, pioneers, leaders in the field of neuroscience, power of the subconscious mind. And you'll see this here on the slideshow in just a minute. And I'm not going to take you through 66 slides if you're looking at that. This should be short and sweet. But what I uncovered is that 95 to 98% of our results in sales, in business, and life are controlled by our subconscious belief systems, most of which we receive before the age of 7. So if you just briefly think about what are some of the things that you heard growing up that may not have really empowered you in your sales career. Rich people are greedy. Little girls should be seen and not heard. It's not polite to talk about money. Think about all the different money doesn't grow on trees. None of these things are actually true. Even just that one, just real, money doesn't grow on trees. What is money? It's paper, it's trees. Money literally is trees, right? What we don't realize is that we are being programmed from the age of 0 to 7 with a set of beliefs that then go on to control our lives through the rest of our lives, unless and until we identify them and learn how to create the proper belief system and identity that is in alignment with the goals we want to achieve. So in this quadrant, this is so foundational and so important. This is all about developing the beliefs, the mindset, and the identity of someone who naturally and easily accomplishes the goals that either you're looking to achieve or your team member is looking to achieve. And this can be done. This is the power of neuroplasticity. We have a specific process we use with our clients to help them map this out and then start wiring in the new belief systems that's going to help support them. And it's incredible what happens because your results will never supersede your identity. So it is critical. And this is why certain members of your team perform the same level every single year. You ever wonder why some people are always top of the pack? Some people are always middle of the pack. Some people probably not there for very long, bottom of the pack. It's actually their identity. It's their self-concept. If they're not doing something to consciously shift it, then they're going to keep getting the same results because that is the function of the subconscious mind. That's quadrant one. There's a lot more we incorporate in that, but that's the high level gist of it. Quadrant two, money. This is so important. What is sales about? Aside from helping people, obviously we're all in sales because we want to help people, or that's why we should be. What else is sales about? Receiving money, flowing money, asking for money. People don't realize how many money blocks they have that they don't even realize. This is something else I say and I teach in my keynote. Your level of income will never exceed your level of self-worth. So we do a ton of work with our clients on whatever the money goal is. So whatever the revenue goal is that you have for them that year or that quarter, whatever their own personal income target is, helping identify the gaps where, again, most of this is subconscious, but we have a process to help them uncover it. Identify the gaps where they either don't feel comfortable having that amount of money, they don't feel like a match for it. They have learned in the past that being number one isn't safe, isn't this, is again, there's a lot of this stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we're not even aware of. Also, most people will earn within about 3% of what their parents made growing up, unless they consciously condition themselves to think at a higher financial frequency. So that's what this quadrant is about. It's about removing the money blocks for your team members or for you, and then helping you elevate to feel natural and comfortable and normal at a higher level of money. Whether that's someone's just starting off and they want to hit their first 6 figures, whether that's someone wants to go from 6 to multi-6 to 7 or beyond. We do this work with individual contributors. We do this work with founders because there's always a next level that we're looking to reach. And there's always going to be limiting beliefs around that too. And that's okay. But if you're not consciously dialing up your money thermometer and your frequency and your just your own consciousness around receiving and then flowing bigger levels of money, you'll stop. So this is number two. Now, before I show you number three, just bear with me. When you see this, you may have the same reaction that I had, which was a bit of an eye roll and a bit of a, really, like, is this really a thing? You're really going to teach my team this? Just bear with me. Let me explain what I'm talking about. Quadrant three, masculine and feminine energy. This is not about being a man or a woman. This is about how are we going about the work in our days and how much are we in force, push, overwhelm, burnout versus what sort of a balance do we have in our internal energies, and are we aligning our workflow and the actions that we're taking in sales or in business with our natural energy cycles. So, quick example. Now, this is gender specific, but the women on your team, the women you support, they run on a different, this is going to sound obvious, but we're not often thinking about it. They run on a different hormonal cycle than the men on your team. Well, guess what? Our hormonal cycle determines our energy levels. Did you know that there is a part of the hormonal cycle where you are actually best suited to going out and delivering sales presentations, where your closing rate will likely be higher? There is a part of the hormonal or energy cycle where you're best suited to detail-oriented work, like closing up accounts, closing up details, processing loose ends. There's a part of our energy and hormonal cycle where we're best suited for planning. So when most people don't know this, and the way the sales and business world works is we're kind of expected to show up the same every single day on a 24-hour cycle. That works great for the men on your team. For the women on your team, it actually doesn't, because that same part of the hormonal cycle that takes the men on your team a couple of hours to go through, the women on your team, it spans a full week. Again, this is all high level. This is not a blanket statement. Everyone's going to be a little bit different, but this is the high level overview of how this works. So in this quadrant, we teach a lot of different things, but one of the things we teach, which is incredibly empowering, and then people get far more effective in less time, is how do you align as best possible your business processes with your energy cycle so that there's less friction, you work faster, you're more effective, it doesn't feel like such a flog, and you get a lot more done in less time. And then quadrant 4 is the method. This is the strategy. And what I'm really proud of here and what we bring to the table is I've been a high-level partner in an 8-figure international sales coaching organization. My team members are sales powerhouses, and we have coached and trained literally some of the top producers across virtually every industry. So whether it's B2B, B2C, network marketing, I've coached and trained the #1 rep for Salesforce in the world. Have worked with some of the top entrepreneurs in the world too, Lewis Howes, if you're familiar with him, to help them with their method, their sales strategy. So this piece does matter. We have sold and coached and trained across, again, virtually every industry: finance, insurance, real estate, mortgage, tech sales, SaaS, again, door to door, like you name it, we have done it. Entrepreneurs, people building out online sales processes. So we are very, very strong in the method, but we customize that to every individual. So what that looks like for members of your team is we find out what is the method that you want to teach and what is already being taught, and how can we come in and help you execute that, and then help perhaps provide some feedback or some coaching, or help elevate the strategy that's already being implemented. Social selling online. There's so many different ways of doing. I've got a really strong personal branding and media background as well, which we bring to the table. But again, this piece is customizable for everyone. So 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth. These are the foundation of how we work with you and your team. Now, in terms of order of importance and what really moves the needle, again, this is where I think we're very different. We call these first 3. So you might look at the slide before and say, okay, they're all equally important. They're all important. And the first 3, mind over matter, money, masculine and feminine energy, we call these the big 3 because these provide the foundation. So if you look at, again, neuroscience, 95 to 98% of the results that we have in our life are based on our inner self-concept, our inner programming. Do we view ourselves as a leader? Do we view ourselves as someone who speaks up in meetings? Do we view ourselves as a great closer? Do we view ourselves as someone who takes initiative? Do we view ourselves as not? So because our results will never supersede our identity, these 3 are the foundation that we use to really lay for our clients. Because if you wanted to build you've probably heard this analogy before, but it's so true. If you want to build a skyscraper and you do it on a really shallow foundation, you're not going to get very far and it's going to topple. Well, this is the problem in most sales coaching programs out there, training programs out there, and sales teams out there that I've seen is we're not building off this really solid foundation that needs to be in place so you can build that skyscraper. So this is the foundation of the curriculum, and then we layer the tactical strategic method on top of that. And again, that's whether you already have a method in place that you just want support and reinforcement around, or whether you want our help in building out and developing what is your best, most nimble, most effective sales process and strategy going to look like based upon the goals of your team. Again, this stuff is changing all the time. Even as I record, it's going to be different. It's the best sales strategies are different than they were a few months ago, just based on social media, how things are changing, AI. There's so many different elements of it out there. And when you're watching this, all that may be old hat and there's new, but the team and I stay really up to date on what's working and what's present and fresh, because we are actively, of course, selling and implementing best practices as well for us. So we are happy to come in and either help reinforce what you're doing or teach and help execute new strategies based on best practices that's going to really work for you. And then, so again, according to neuroscience, the actual method, the strategy you take, that's about 2 to 5% of your results. So this is the way, this is the ordering of things. And what I'll show you here, the final slide, this is what our methodology looks like actually within one of our programs. So just so you can get a sense. So this is taken from our 10K club and 50K club curriculum that we take our clients through, where this is actually done over the course of about a year, where every month, so each of these dots up here is a month, so January, February, March, April, etc. Every month we have a specific focus on a method piece of sales strategy based upon the needs of the group and the collective as a whole. So you can see what that looks like. And then, well, and I'll also just make a note here, with our coaching and the people in our programs, we have both entrepreneurs and sales professionals in our programs. So for example, with this entrepreneur, intrapreneur, it's always going to be customized based on your team. Of course, if we're in coaching your team, we're not teaching people how to become entrepreneurs, but we do love helping people think about how can I be intrapreneurial and how can I take better control of my role and what would it look like to really have better ownership over my role and see myself as the CEO of my space within the company so that I can grow and scale. So that's the thought there. And then every 4 months, we have a specific focus on one of these three, or one of the big three. So January through April, we're doing deep dives into mind over matter, neuroscience, reprogramming, creating new belief systems, building new identity that's in alignment with the goals you want to achieve. The next 4 months, so May through August, money mindset. It's all about elevating level of money consciousness so that you see yourself and start getting comfortable and then start actually selling and earning far greater levels of money. And then August through, or September through September, there we go, September through December, masculine and feminine energy. So this is an example of what the curriculum looks like when we work with clients who are directly in our group programs. When we are, I'll stop the share here. When we are working with corporations, everything is customized to you. So you may look at this and say, I want some of this and not some of that. That's totally fine. But I wanted to give you a sense of what this could look like so that you can see if it feels aligned with what you're looking for right now with your organization. So I hope that helps explain. We would love to connect with you and talk about how we can best serve you. My contact information will be wherever you're watching this video so that you can reach out and we can hop on a call and talk about the needs of your team, you or your team, how we can best serve and support. I look forward to connecting with you further, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.